early part of the 17th century, many English tradesmen and working-class families departed the shores of England with hopes of finding a better life in the developing colonies along the eastern seaboard. Among the English voyagers in 1638, John Hood, a weaver by trade, was destined to start the evolution of the Hood family in the Americas. Starting in New England, the Hood tree branched out throughout the northern and southern states. My name is Jennifer Hood. Born in 1973, I represent the 11th generation of Hoods following John's arrival. Although my roots are in the New England branch of the Hood tree, the latter part of the 20th century finds the descendants of Allen Hood, my great-grandfather, living throughout the United States, including Massachusetts, New York, Florida, Ohio, and Oregon. I'm the daughter of Barry and Jane Hood. My father's father was Edmund Hood, son of Allen. As the Allen Hood branch of the Hood family scatters and thins out, it becomes increasingly difficult for my generation to relate to some of the earlier Allen Hood family history. This tape was made with the intent of reliving some of those family experiences which took place in the latter part of the 19th century and early parts of the 20th century. My great-aunt Florence was born in 1902. As the only daughter of Allen Hood, and with one older brother and 4 younger brothers, Florence has a wealth of recollections of the early days of the Allen Hood clan. The following informal interview was recorded on the evening of September 30th, 1990, at Blackmore's Pond in the cottage of Carol and Buddy Flanagan. The memory joggers and questions are posed by my Aunt Carol and Uncle Buddy, as well as my mom and dad. Let's join them now on that warm summer evening.
What stop was it? What train stop?
Well, that was between Dudley and Eggleston. And now it's coming down.
That's right. That's
We're
right.
taking it down. Now it's gone. It's down on that area.
That used to be a really big interchange on Douglas Street.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yeah. And Guy Street was just maybe 2 or 3 stops out of Dudley.
How about your brothers? Were you Alan was?
Well, Alan was the oldest, and then me, and then Arthur and Freddie, and Billy, and then Pippin.
Were you and Alan buddies?
Well, all right. Arthur and I didn't get along really good.
No, what did Arthur do? Why?
See, Arthur was next to me. My mother used to say, if Arthur was a girl, she'd have to be one of us in the home.
Do you remember much about your grandfather who was a policeman in Boston at the time?
No, I don't remember that. All I remember about when I was about 6, we started going up to West Thompson, to that house up next door to the store. You know, they lived in there. And Dee Dee wasn't married, and she went up there on her vacation, and she took us up there with her, Alan and I. And after that, we went every summer Alan and I went every summer to my grandparents that was Thompson, West Thompson, I think it is. And we went there every summer. But then they moved over to Haverhill, New Hampshire, and we went there we used to go there every summer until I was about, maybe 12. But Alan always went, and one year he stayed up there. The year that Bill was born, he stayed up there and went to school up there. But I never stayed after. We used to come home in time from school.
Did you drive? How long did it take to drive there?
Well, we used to go on the train.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, we used to take the train to, when we went to Thompson, we took the train to Bradford, and we took the coach, a stagecoach, over to West Thompson. And then when we went to Haverhill, we used to take the train to Haverhill. And sometimes my grandfather would
You did say Quincy?
But there's the Quincy.
They went to
Yeah, it was Quincy, wasn't it, buddy?
Yeah.
That wasn't too far from where you stayed.
Quincy, New Hampshire.
Oh, I know it's Quincy. Okay, Quincy, New Hampshire.
This was going to Shantyville.
Yeah.
And Romney.
But I can remember when we went up to Thompson. I can remember going there. We were coming on our way home, and we were in the stagecoach, I guess you call it, anyway. And we saw all the little bulls, lots of little white deers with the big deer, with the mother deer, I suppose. We saw them. It was early in the morning. We saw all of them. It still sticks in my mind seeing all the deers.
On the train in those days, was it the steam locomotive, the big coal?
I don't know, just a train. I don't know.
Because I'm thinking like the old days, they had the train with the heavy smoke.
When we went to the first time we went to Haverhill, my grandfather somehow, I don't know how he got there, but he was at the station before Haverhill, Pike. He was at Pike and he got on the train there, so to be sure that we would get off at the right stop. But the conductor was very nice. He knew that we were getting off and he had all our things ready, for us to get off.
So what year was that roughly?
Well, that was in about 1911. I was about 8. It's so different now, gosh.
Oh, that's for sure.
How long would it take you to get there from
About 6 hours or so.
Oh, gosh.
How about your grandmother when they used to have the thunder and lightning storm?
Well, my grandmother was terrified of thunder and lightning. I never gave her the thought until I went up to stay with her. But when it was good, the storms up there, around the mountains and everything. Oh, they were terrible. And first couple were there, Al and I can remember Al and I was under the kitchen table and we were fooling and laughing. And she was so annoyed at us. But in the middle of the night, if it thundered and lightning, we had to get up, go downstairs, and we'd sit around the dining room table and wait until the storm passed. And that was the night I had never even heard of the end of the world, or anything. And she told me all those things about the Bible stories, all hell and damnation and all that. When I got home, my mother almost had to take me to a psychiatrist. I was afraid of the sound. Because I expected instant death when it happened. It took me the longest time, and I never cured myself of that until I had my own children, and I didn't want them to be afraid, so that when it would be thunder and lightning, I would say, "Oh, listen to the thunder! 1, 2, 3, 4 miles away," hitting them along like that. I fondly thought I was teaching them not to be afraid. I didn't realize they were terrified. But I was just thunder and lightning. I just cured myself of those qualities at all.
Good thing. You don't want to go there.
Scared it out of me.
Then when you go up there for the summer, you go to church in your grandmother's church.
Well, I went to whatever church my grandmother was invited with. If it was the Methodist, I went to the Methodist. Whatever the other church was, I went there. Whoever she was friendly with, I went to that church to that summer. Never heard me a bit. What little I learned about the Bible, I learned up there.
Well-rounded ecumenical.
Yeah.
Now, your grandmother's name was?
Clara Florence Krug.
Her background originally was?
Vermont. She was born right up in Vermont.
And her dad was?
And my grandfather, he was born right up in Vermont.
On the Burns side, they were Scotch.
Yes, my grandmother's father was a real Scotchman. Real Scotchman. He was married to Rachel Allen. And there was some connection. Rachel Allen was either the great niece or the great grandniece. I don't know which of Ethan Allen.
Green uncles.
Yes, I guess so. I guess I understand.
came home, and he was married to your class.
Grandmother.
And he decided to go out to California
Yes.
to the gold. Well, it was years later. It was after the body. And she was going to join
He
him.
was gone. He was gone for over a year, and then he started writing for her to come out there. And she was thrilled because she was sort of adventurous, you know, and it was very boring. You know. She was teaching school at the time in that little town, Thompson. And she was going out west to join her husband, and she was thrilled to death. And she was going to go on a Monday morning. She was leaving for California.
On the boat
And
that went around them.
Huh?
On the boat that went around them.
I don't know how she was going to go, but she was going to go. And on Monday morning, she was going to go. And Sunday afternoon, my grandfather walked in. She said, I felt like sticking a knife in him.
There goes the trip. They may have stepped in the next
So
one.
that quit the trip. She never got to California.
Wow.
But I had to laugh at that. Those are her very words. She says, I felt like sticking a knife in him. And he'd been gone 2 years.
Then they stayed up in Vermont.
Yeah, they got married.
Family.
Well, they were married. They were married. And then they lived up in Vermont. And they had their children. They had Ed and Edie, the twins. And then they came to Boston.
Why did they come to Boston?
Well, I guess he couldn't get
The
work or
house burned
something,
down.
some reason. No, but anyway, he came to Boston.
But the house burned down.
No, but that was later on.
Oh, all right.
He came to Boston. My father was born in Boston, and he
Oh, I
was the
see.
second. He was their second child, except the twins, and then him. He was the second. And they came to Boston, and he lived in Boston for a few years. I'm not sure how many. Then they went back up to Vermont, and my grandfather got a little farm, like they have up there, horses and cows, stuff like that. And that's the house that burned down. And it was in the middle of the winter. The snow was very deep and everything, and my grandmother woke up and she could smell this terrible smoke. The whole house was all fire. And my grandfather jumped out the window, the bedroom window, and my grandmother threw the kids out the window after him, and then dropped down and saw, from the second floor. And the house just burned right down flat to the ground. And she said that the next day she went over to the house, and there was some of the men that was working there was sitting on the stone step that didn't burn, going in, eating a pie. And he found it. Hadn't happened to him.
Did they find out what had caused the fire?
Huh?
Did they find out what caused
That
the
they
fire?
cleaned out the stove and put the pan of ashes outside the door. They thought it was cold enough. They thought the ashes were cold enough, but there must have been embers in them, and got it.
But they were quite away from their next neighbor, and they were all in their night clothes, and they had to walk to the...
They had their
next
night clothes. They had to go to the next house
And be
with the kids. I forget how many she had at the time, but there was Ed and my Fred, and then she wouldn't have Maud because Maud didn't live, but she must have had Josie because Blanche was born in Boston, I know. And then my grandfather left my father. He found my father out to some farm family up there to work. My father was about 8 or 9 years old, and he worked for the man, and, worked for the people for his keep, while his mother and father came to Boston, and that's when he got the job as on the car.
Again, when is this roughly?
Huh?
When is this? What year roughly? When he came to Boston?
Well, I would say it was roughly around 81 or 2, around through there. And he used to drive the horse cars, because then he went on the police force, and speed was over in the Fenway. And that's where he was, well, I guess he must have stayed there a while, because he used to get a pension from the police department. So he must have been there for a while.
Yeah.
Then he retired and went back up to Vermont.
Yes, when he retired, then he went back up to Vermont. And he went up to Aunt Jessie's house. And he lived there a while. Then he moved from there over to the house by the church.
Was that his house? Did he buy that house, or did he rent
He
it?
bought it.
Or was his house?
Yeah.
to Haverhill after that?
And then he sold that and he moved over to Haverhill. I don't know why he moved to Haverhill, but he went over there anyway. It was a pretty little house in Haverhill, very nice.
What was the name of that hill that was up?
Sinclair. We used to call it Sinclair, but it was shortened because the people that lived on the top of the hill, their name was Sinclair, and they used to call it Sinclair. Going there.
Now that was in Vermont or
New Hampshire, Haverhill, New Hampshire. Because I know whenever we went out for a ride, I always had to walk up the hill. It was so stupid to get to the bottom of the hill. I had to get out of the carriage and walk up the hill to save the horse. I couldn't have weighed any more than 65, 70 pounds. And I remember one lady used to take me.
How about Boston Common? You remember going to Boston Common?
I never saw a Boston Common until I went to work.
How about Nantasket? Probably Nantasket.
And I never went to Nantasket Beach until I was working. Huh?
When you were a little girl then, did your mom and dad take you anywhere?
We used to go to City Point.
That's Southie.
Yeah, we lived in Southie. Because Dee Dee lived in Southie, and we used to go to her house and park up there, and then we'd all go down the beach.
What was at City Point besides the beach?
Very.
What was at City Point when you were a little girl?
Castle Island. We used to go swimming, and then you could take the boat across to Castle Island for a nickel. And
They didn't have that bridge that went out there then?
Yes.
Oh,
they rode over on the boat. We had to walk back.
Oh, okay.
We used to go to City Point. And Aunt Nellie lived over near Carson Beach. And we used to go over to her house and go to the beach.
Did you go to Franklin Park when you was
Huh?
You go to Franklin Park?
I didn't go to Franklin Park very much, no. I don't think I did. My kids used to go up there on picnics, I know, but I never went too much.
I didn't know if they had the zoo there then.
Huh?
I didn't know if they had the zoo there then.
You probably did.
Oh, I can remember when they got the bears up there, and the mayor came and presented them to the city, the bears and that. I can remember that. Hager took us, Arthur and Freddie and I took us. And oh, it was so cold. It was like in October, because I can remember it was dark when she brought us home. But we saw them get them, and then when
Was it the polar bears, maybe?
no, they were brown bears. And then when they got the elephants over at Fenway Park, we went there.
Fenway Park?
Yeah, when
Well, they got them for the zoo, but they got them at Fenway Park.
yeah, they presented them at Fenway Park, and all the people could go. You could go and see it. And we went. She took us over there too. She was like Daddy. She had no children, and she liked to go places, so she used to take us.
Who was that again?
A neighbor of my mother's.
You mentioned Fenway Park. Was there a park there that had animals?
Park, yeah,
Not just like the Red Sox, but a park.
a park, yeah.
Like the
It
fence?
was Braves Field. Maybe it was Braves Field we went to. I don't know. Maybe it was Braves Field. It was one of those. No, but it was. Yeah, it was
The Fenway? 'Cause
Braves
it's like-
Field. It was way out.
But it was a ballpark.
Yeah, it was a ballpark. Yeah.
When you went to the zoo, and you described a while ago, you saw the bears and it was real cool. What year was that?
Well, it must have been 1911 or 12 because I was. No, I was older. No, it was later than that because I believe that was when it must have been 12 or 13 around into there.
And how did you get home from there?
We walked.
So you didn't live far from the zoo?
We went a good long walk. Sure.
How long is a good one? A couple of miles?
Yeah, must have been about a couple of miles. Listen, we you could see how far I used to walk to school 4 times a day when I was in the 4th grade. Never thought of bus, nothing. Go to school,
3.5, 4 miles.
go to school.
Did you go through school in the
We
same
never went
school,
any
or
school buses.
did your school stop at 6th grade and then you go to another school, or?
At the 4th grade, it stopped. Well, I don't know. No, we went to the first, up to the 4th, and then
Do you know the names of your schools?
yeah. And then we moved the summer after when I got out of the 4th grade, promoted to the 5th, we moved, and then I went to the Lowell School up on Center Street. And I graduated from there. And then
8th grade or senior?
Yeah, 8th. And then I went to the Practical Arts High School for 1 year, and I switched to Jamaica Plain High.
What
And,
year did you graduate from high school?
huh?
What year did you graduate from high school?
In 1920, I was 17 in February, June.
How many, was it a big class, Jamaica Plain High? That's
Not too high, not too big.
Maybe 100?
Not too big. Maybe, yeah.
What did you do right after high school? What did you want to do?
I went to work.
Did you want to? But did you want to do that? Did you have any?
Yeah, it was automatic. You just went to work when you got out of high school.
Did you date
There was
anybody?
no college loans or anything then.
That's right.
And
That's
eventually
before
we didn't have any college money.
that.
Did you date anybody in high school, or did you just
You
do
know, I
group
was the
things?
most insignificant snipe. I didn't go to prom. I didn't do nothing. I was only about 4 feet tall. I never grew. I was always the smallest one in the room. Always the smallest. And when I got 16, all of a sudden I shot up as big as I got. I don't know what happened to me. I just grew. I was walking in the park one night,
Pickup.
Well, you know, it really was, but I didn't know it at the time. Because the girl that I was with said, you know, Margie, I should have known. She lived next door, and I was working. I was 19 years old, and I was working, and we went to. She came down. And she says, "Let's take a little walk." And so I said, "Sure, now let's be back before it's dark." That was what she always said when we went out. So we walked up. You could walk in Franklin Park then, and nobody knifed you or anything. So we were walking along over by the bird cage, and these two fellows were walking ahead of us. And Roger says to me, see those two fellows over there? She says, I know that one. I said, you do not? She says, yes, I do. And I said, oh, you do not. So I said, she says, yes, I do know him. So, everything when I think of it, she walked right up. She said, hi, how are you?
Did she know it?
Of course she didn't know. So we walked right along. We didn't walk with them. They walked in back talking, you know. We wouldn't walk with them for a while, you know. We just walked along. Gradually it got so that we separated in couples, and Henry came up and walked with me. So we walked home. I had to be home before it was dark or we'd get killed, and so would she. Her mother would holler out the window at her. Marjorie, come up here. And still hear her.
Don't want to bring him near the house.
Yeah. So we left them at the corner. We only lived a little way from the corner, so we left them at the corner, don't worry. And he said, I'll call you tomorrow night, you know. But you know the things boys say, they never do that. So of course he didn't call, and he says he called, and my father answered the phone. Maybe he did, I don't know, but he said he called, and my father was very abrupt with him, which I wouldn't put it past. But however, he didn't call. I didn't get the call. And the next Saturday night, Margie and I were going up to the movies in Nicholson Square. And my brother was to walk us home. My brother was an usher in the movies.
Which one? Which one?
Arthur. And he was to escort us home when the movies got out at 10 o'clock, or 5 minutes past 10 they got out. And he was to walk